mes amis, hi guys, little video for Paul in the UK who wants to complement his trusty Omega Seamaster Aqua Terra with a dress watch to celebrate his retirement. Nice milestone for which Paul budgeted £5,000 or 6,500 US dollars. His wrist is on the larger size at 19 cm, so while you can go small for a dress watch, it's not the 50s, so something around 39-40 millimeters would be nice. So let's do this together and share your suggestions in the comments, but please keep in mind it's not for you. We want to find the right fit for a particular individual within his budget. Can it be cheaper? Sure, but frankly, when I think retirement dress watch, I think Patek or the likes. So we're going to try and maximize our budget here. Speaking of which, I'm probably wearing my retirement watch already, although I'm 25 years away from retirement, I'm afraid. Someone has to pay for those kids' education. It's the Patek Philippe 5134G white gold. It's discreet but has a travel function, as I hope I'll be able to travel a bit more when I'm retired. And lovely piece, Calatrava, classic, nice size. Anyway, Paul was actually on the right path already, as he is looking at the Jaeger-LeCoultre JLC Master Control Sector Dial, which I think would be a clever move. Of course, the recommended brand by default is Rolex, but Paul seems to be looking at something dressier with a bit more flair. And as it's a watch that he's likely to keep forever, the resale considerations take a back foot today. The Master Control Sector Dial collection came out in 2017 to celebrate the collection's 25th anniversary. It was only produced for 1 year and was an instant hit. The look, the Sector Dial look, was popular in the 1930s and 40s and still draws the eye. JLC manages to revisit the classic visual cues in a modern design. All three versions look perfect to me, so the choice depends on the budget and availability. While normally I wouldn't rush to pay retail as great bargains can be found on other JLC models, it's a special occasion and these don't really show up that often on the used market because owners seem to cherish them. Technically, they are sound machines being part of the Master Control family of movements that undergo thorough testing, and JLC offers up to 8 years of warranty now. As it is part of a big conglomerate, you'll never have to worry about servicing your timepieces. I like how JLC gives you a quote on their website for servicing any of their references, by the way. Do not expect Rolex reliability though, and if you go for a complication, factoring higher service costs for long-term ownership. As I am researching for this video a bit, I have to say, I'm starting to feel like I missed out on these watches. Looking at Chrono 24, well, there's pretty much nothing available much on the retail, which says a lot about the popularity of the model. So Paul, if you love the watch and can source it through Jaeger themselves, I'd say go for it. If you can find an unmolested one on the used market, do your homework to make sure it's the real deal. I'd want to inspect the piece with a loupe for scuffs, just so I can bargain the right price. And I'd look at the back for any foreign material showing inside the movement. Okay, now let's look at alternatives, shall we? Since we are with La Grande Maison, it would be criminal not to suggest a reverso, especially the Grande Taille, the larger version, since our man has the wrist for it. My pick of the bunch would have to have either a complication on the reverse side or a display case back, like the Moon and Sun, making sure you'll never be bored of your watch. Budget will dictate, but I'd say get the best one you can get for sure. You should be able to find better bargains than on the Sector dials, and it's an even better complement to the Aqua Terra. The Reverso is the first model that comes to mind when one mentions JLC, and I'm a firm believer of buying the classics. At the price point, I don't think that the dress pieces from Breitling or Zenith really have the upper hand on JLC. They are nice, but might not keep you interested in the long term. Both brands are more famous for their sports watches. IWC, although not a brand that I personally care for, is a good buy on the grey or second-hand market. The brand has fallen out of favor, but you have to admit that the lineup in their shop windows is quite sharp. So take a look at the Portugueser, but I kinda mention it just to be thorough. I've never considered buying into the brand myself, especially since John Mayer associated himself with it. Ugh. Now, you've mentioned Grand Seiko in our little chat. Besides my reservation about their after-sales service, I think they make good watches but just spin their wheels, coming up with endless dial variations. And while the fancy dials are nicely made, I don't see a grown-up man wearing that, certainly not as a dress piece. Having said that, their latest manual wind models are fetching, but will they stand the test of time like a reverso or a sector dial? GS will release another version of your watch next year that'll make you feel like you're missing out probably. Finally, one more brand that I think would suit Paul is Glashütte Original. It's the actual true heir of the original longer brand to some extent. They bring tremendous value, but generally their watches are on the larger side. Not a problem for our man of the hour. They're great buys on the grey and second-hand market, and I'm sure you can bargain more at an AD than a Chelsea boutique. They're part of the Swatch group, so they should benefit from long-term financial backing. The finishing of the movement is excellent. They have great designs and complications. Within the budget, it's a relatively unsung hero to consider. My pick would be without a doubt the Panomatic Lunar. It's unique, fascinating, and frankly, looks a lot more expensive than it is. I also like the Senator line, where my pick is the Observer with a big date and power reserve. What's not to like? So Paul and all of you, let me know in the comments what you think of these and if you have other ideas. I would take my time, try a few of these in person and see what is the best watch you could get for your money. Happy to revisit this again in a few. Good luck and congratulations on your retirement, Paul.